got a medium to be heard. From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Okay, now there's a sound Fina makes each time the montage for the show starts. You know, each time the sound. I think it's called a hue, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you wanting to say? I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm going to put on the spot. I like it though. I like it. The hue is used for meditation, isn't it?
Yes, relaxation, meditation, and praying.
And praying.
Yeah.
Now, don't we need that at this time? You know, some sort of meditation, you know.
Are you a spiritual being that you want to start doing it? You can go for yoga, you can go for all the relaxation methods, but if you don't really want to do the hue sound, then forget about it.
You know how to do it, don't you?
I don't know what you're talking about. I can say that.
Oh, well. Welcome to the show. David, Moses, Fina, right here. Well, sorry, I'm not taking away. They will still get to introduce themselves, but I am Moses Humphrey, and Nigerians need another type of sound to help them relax, because the bang bang dim dim is becoming, it's adding to the craziness, really. It's adding to, you move around, and the noise you hear from motor parks is making your heart palpitate. It feels like you're in a club sometimes.
You call it the bustling. What did I say? The bustling sound of the city. That was what he said.
Nah.
Oh, you don't want the buzzing sound
it's
again?
It's becoming crazy.
You don't need the buzzing sound again?
No.
You want the hue, the quiet, hums, and all that?
Maybe, if that would restore sanity.
Some people would say that sound, that noise makes them feel alive.
Are you serious?
Big boom, bah, boom, boom, the noise.
Just that makes you have that feel of...
That's why when people drive, they're always angry. In Lagos. Nigerians are always angry, because the noise. And then, have you realized that some people cannot talk without raising their voice, even when they're
having a normal conversation?
Because the noise has deafened them. They've been deafened by the noise, so they talk. It feels like they have to scream for them to be heard and for you to hear them. But unfortunately, now that was on a lighter note. Unfortunately, Nigerians have been screaming, but the government doesn't seem to be listening. A lot has been happening. Insecurity is on the increase. Nigerians have been crying, making so much noise, calling for help, but it feels like the government at all levels, federal, state, they seem to have been deafened. Well, some of them are trying, but one would ask, from the top, is there a willpower? Like David would always ask, is the will there to push back on banditry and insurgency? We'll talk about this when we get into the major talking points. But, well, let me give my colleagues to introduce themselves.
I've introduced
myself already.
Us. Yes, all I need to do is to add the Okechukwu to the FINA he already mentioned.
Okay.
And for the sound he was talking about, we need to calm down. We need to find a way to unwind, you know. Because if you go through the front page...
We unwind, though. Nigerians unwind.
This one now, you're unwinding on low budget. You're not spending any money. You understand? Okay. So now you have to find a way to do that. Because if you go through the front page of the dailies today, you will find out that we have so many troubling headlines.
Goodness.
The 30 people that were trapped in that mining pit in Niger State.
Still there.
They are still there. And I have to say that is not enough for having all crashes again in that headline. And lots of stories that will even make you to have migraine when you wake up in the morning. So you have to find a way to relax yourself, all right? And that was the reason we decided to water down a bit this morning by making it to laugh and, try to cheer you up. It's Thursday morning, Throwback Thursday. If you don't want to have, if you think you're already upset with the things happening around, think about what has happened before now and where you started, hold on to that and then smile a bit because it pays. You're welcome to today's show.
David Edwin saying the power of positivity is what you should consistently try and strive to have. You have to also have, that positivity vibe always. That's what we're trying to preach here this morning because like Fina rightly mentioned, if you look through the papers today and you are not one with that positivity vibe, you just might be gloomy all day. But then you have to really try as much as you can to stay positive, have that mindset that the day is going to be fine, the day is going to be beautiful, and hopefully they call it nature or the universe might smile on you positively, but I believe it's going to be very, very beautiful. We bid you welcome to VOP this morning, and we definitely want to serve you the best way we can today. And just in a couple of seconds from now, we'll be taking a very, very quick break. But when we return, we'll be looking at what the papers are saying this beautiful morning. It's the 27th day in the month of June, and we urge you to stay with us. Let's enjoy this beautiful morning ride together. And if you haven't even subscribed to our YouTube channel, on YouTube we are at Voice of the People TV, and on all other social media platforms we are at VOP TV Live. So let's continue this conversation online. What positive mindset would you want to have on a beautiful day like this? Maybe you might not have all of the money in the pocket, but what positive mindset would you want to have on a beautiful Thursday morning like today? All right, let's take that break. When we return, we'll be looking at what the papers are saying. Stay with us.
When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
All right, now let's get into the papers. Let's look at stories that made it to the cover pages of the dailies. And we do have some dailies in front of us. Now, we have The Punch, we have the Daily Independent, and we have The Guardian as well. Daily Trust has that headline that Fina pointed to at the beginning of the show. But let's just, well, I will start with the Guardian newspaper now. The Guardian newspaper starts with issues that have to do with health. The banner headline here reads, out of pockets, high cost of care hits public hospitals, uninsured patients. And then there is a breakdown of certain events, certain things happening. It says hospitals insist on deposit payments before care. I don't think this is new. Maybe this paper is just reporting this, but it's not new. Usually hospitals will insist that you pay for everything. Even if they're going to give you injections, you will have to go buy it yourself. Some more headlines there. Patients, caregivers stranded. Over 150% hike in cost. Patients explore cheaper, unsafe alternatives. Herbal concoctions. Over 90% of Nigerians still have no health insurance. How many people actually make use of their HMOs? And though some of them work with government establishments, those that even know that there is something like an HMO, a health insurance, they work with the government. And because some of them know that these things are deducted from your salary, whether you like it or yes. Yeah. And so you have to use it. But then again, in some cases, I dare say some cases, when you visit the hospital that is your HMO, the hospital assigned to you, the treatment they give you, because you're coming from, the HMO, the health insurance thing, is kind of negligible in comparison to what they will give one who is paying cash.
Okay.
Regardless of that, they still get paid.
And you want to ask, where is the cervicum?
You want to ask.
Where is the cervicum?
But well, I will not blame cervicum because they will only act on what is reported.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh well.
You see, yesterday when I talked about the cholera after we did the party shirt, so two of you were of the opinion that maybe I just wanted to, make Nigerians, let's say, add a little, and maybe Paul Sand.
After people went to party in Lagos.
Now you understand why I was talking about that. Now I think the Guardian newspaper made it known to us this morning that the cost, in court, they say out of pocket, high cost of care hits public hospital and uninsured patients.
It's really expensive.
Very.
Cholera is in the air.
Lots of other illnesses are in the air.
A lot,
that cholera is the one that is now everywhere.
Even death
now.
is expensive right now.
Exactly.
You can't afford to die. I mean, have you gone to check how much it is for a vault? If you for a vault, if you want to bury someone, pretty expensive. We're talking in the range of 500 to 2 million, 3 million, 5 million.
A little
to put somebody in the ground.
A little while, a lot of persons leave their dead at the morgue and not going to even pick them at all.
I think it was last month that UBTH were of the opinion that it will help people who abandon their dead ones there to do the mass burial. So I was like, what is really happening? And not just in Nigeria also. Some time ago in Kenya, they also talked about how people have abandoned their dead ones because they couldn't afford the funeral. So the people or the government were of the opinion that they would just organize a mass burial and then bury them, And
there's an experience I had some years back. For some reason, I just wanted to get my head into a certain space, and then I visited a morgue. I was in a hospital. It was. I needed to clear my head. All right, it's weird, right? Yes, it is weird. I needed to clear my head. I needed to get some perspective.
Okay.
So I visited a morgue and, interviewed the attendant there, and I realized a lot of things actually. The morgue was filled up. It's a military hospital, the military hospital in Yaba.
Okay.
I visited their morgue. It was filled up. Wow. The freezer was filled. He had to pull out. I had to see. Hello, this one, and then he was telling me what killed some, what killed. Okay, this one is an officer. He died of HIV and AIDS. This one died in an accident. and then there was a trunk box. I don't know if you remember those trunk boxes. Those metal boxes that our mothers used to have, where they keep their abada and Hollandia.
Hollandis.
Sorry. Hollandis. the trunk box was about this height.
Right.
And then he opened it. And then what was there was about nothing less than 30 people, 30 corpses.
Wow.
Yeah, about this height. About this. Okay, let's say from this table, it's about this height. From this table, it's about this height. They had been there for a long time. They had, shrunk to almost like skin on bone, and they were just dumped. And I asked why. I said, well, the owners of the corpses abandoned them. Some of them due to lack of money to bury them. Some of them don't even know they died in accidents and things like
They're
that.
looking out for them.
So now they're just waiting for court order to have a mass burial for them. That was why they kept them aside. In that container, it was a small container. And I asked myself, what then is all the hustle for in life, really?
Okay.
It's what then? What? All this, you don't want somebody to touch you because of your class.
Yeah, that part.
We have about 30 people more than actually in a container. They don't care anymore because they're dead and gone. I needed to get perspective on a lot of things, and I did that, and it opened my eyes to some of the things. I think you should do it. I think you should do it. I think you should do it. Occasionally, just go to the morgue, see the end, like the Holy Books say, vanity upon vanity, all is vanity. And the Holy Books did actually prescribe events that we should attend. Attend birthdays, attend burials. All right. It will give you perspective on a lot of things. Oh, well. Some more headlines. Are we done with that?
No, we're not.
Okay.
Lots more.
We still need to touch on some more headlines here. Okay, I think I've lost. Okay, no. Let's see.
Yeah.
By the side of the Victoria?
Yes. So yes, Northeast, home to over 2 million uneducated children, says UNICEF. Nigeria recorded 75,000 new HIV infections in 2023, says NACA. Naira depreciation adds 17.8 trillion naira to public debt in 3 months. Murik, Arewa Group knocks Sokoto government over passage of anti-sultanate bill. And now to cholera. Cholera, Nigeria records 54 deaths, 1,579 cases in 32 weeks. Shadow of presidential aircraft hangs over NAS emergency seating today. Hundreds of APC members decry hunger, decamp to PDP in Ondo. And yes, now we were talking about cholera. I'm of the opinion, I haven't clarified this, but from conversations with a warden I had a conversation with a warden recently, and he told me that with the cholera outbreak, they have recorded a lot of deaths in a particular prison cell.
Oh, wow.
He said, and I quote, over 200 people have died. Wow. Because we know how they are kept.
Correctional facilities are.
Oh, yes, Southern prisons. The Nigeria Correctional Facility, Correctional Center. A lot of people have died. We know how they live. They defecate, in the same area where and they are not properly cared for. Yeah. There are lots of them have died. But it's not reported.
That is the thing.
It's not reported. Some of them are on death row anyway.
Oh, well.
So it feels like, okay, they're dead, they're gone, and then life goes on.
I mean, these are humans.
Of course they are.
And sometimes when I see some of these reports, one goes to ask a question, what's then the value for life from the Nigerian perspective? This headline that reads, Nigeria recorded 75,000 new HIV infections in 2023. I had a conversation with a health personnel, and he told me that the way young people are infected by this virus lately is alarming, but nobody's talking about it.
Why so?
Well, of course, unprotected sex, some
HIV and AIDS.
HIV and AIDS.
Oh, yes.
Unprotected sex,
Yes.
rape, and then he said one.
No, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. Like, I've always, I know a lot of people are shying away from this, but you see same-sex relationships, gay sex relationships is what's the word now? They spread HIV faster than anything else. Same-sex, gay sex relationship spread HIV faster. But you see, because we don't want to get dragged by the community that supports these things.
Well,
But here in Africa, we don't practice that. In Nigeria, 14 years is that's what the government says. If you're being caught. So we shouldn't even shy away from talking about it. You have to talk about it the way it is.
Have you seen anybody taken in for it?
I think someone actually was reported some time ago in the north over that. Yes, I heard of someone that was reported about that.
They caught a group of boys in a club, apparently cross-dressers, But you would say, okay, because you didn't catch them in the act, but some of them openly declared that they are gay.
In Delta State, some of them also were arrested when they attended a wedding. They were arrested.
Yes, they were arrested. And then what?
Maybe we need to go back and ask them what they do with the people that they have arrested over same-sex related issues. But here in Nigeria, as far as I'm concerned, listen, as far as FINA is concerned, same-sex is prohibited in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, if we get you, it's 14 years imprisonment. That is what the government says we're going in for. So now, if some people who are supposed to champion this are not working, we don't do LGBTQ here. We don't do it.
Entrance from the rear,
Call it the anal sex. The way it's
this
being
is
done.
morning radio.
So you don't do that.
This is morning TV.
No, we don't do that
This is morning
because
TV.
it is not even in line with what first our custom, our norms, our beliefs talk. They act everything we have as Nigerians talk against it. The north is the south.
Interestingly, this same person I was telling you about, the health official, did say that a victim was confirmed to have HIV, and she said that she would never
die alone.
And she's going out to everybody and anybody that comes her way.
Man's inhumanity to man.
Now, that is scary. Because on one path, you want to ask, of course, she said that her ex-boyfriend gave it to her, unknown to her. Now, come in for treatment, at least to help you. She's saying no. She would go as far as she can to keep spreading it. Again, it goes to data that Nigerians don't have. No profile, no proper profiling. You cannot even say this person had or this person. I mean,
there are reports that HIV is actually spreading in Nigeria. I used to be afraid that, South Africa has a high, South Africa, they made it open. They made it open. In fact, there's a law in South Africa that if you have it, before you engage with someone, tell the person.
Yeah.
Right.
So they will decide whether or not they want to have, protected or whatever with you. In fact, in some cases, there was a time some people in South Africa had to have a tattoo, in the public area, indicating that they have it.
Yeah.
All right. But because there's a law to that regard. But I think we have been living in denial here. There are reports coming out that in some parts, I think in Benue, it's really high in Benue.
Right.
The statistics that we have from those that are living, persons living with HIV in Benue is on the high. And some of the parts of the country as well. But like you rightly said, we don't have actual statistics to work with.
True.
So people can be more careful how they interact.
Quite unfortunate, really. I mean, it's alarming and scary. 73,000 new HIV infections in 2023 alone. Now, if we don't take all of the precautionary measures, well, basically what we're saying is just be careful out there. It's very, very important that you look out for yourself and please stay safe. All right, let's get some other paper because of our time quickly. Okay, we're going to go straight to Punch newspaper.
We just left there? Okay, right.
No, we did
that.
That was the Punch.
Take the Punch then.
All right, the banner headline here reads, Dangote Refinery, crude supply crisis threatens oil investment, operators warn FG. The writer there says, FG urged to deepen investors' confidence. Dangote allays fear over refinery fire. Well, that incident that happened at the Dangote refinery, they've come out to say that it was just mild. No casualties was recorded, and things are going on well there. All right, by the side of the nameplates there, you find another headline that reads 423 billion naira theft. El-Rufai sues Kaduna Assembly, challenges probe. Above the nameplate, other headline reads, stress test on banks necessitated recapitalization. Stress test on banks necessitated recapitalization. This is coming from the CBN. Also, government ASU meets to avert strike in varsities. You can find that in page 2 of the Punch newspaper. FG banks begin talks on nationwide broadband rollout. That is also on page 21 of the Punch newspaper. All right, beneath the nameplate there, you find other headline that reads, Tinubu backs NDLEA to end drug abuse, trafficking. I dare say that the NDLEA are really doing an amazing job.
Oh, yes, they are. Oh, yes,
Yeah.
They're doing an amazing job. I mean, the Buba Mara-led NDLEA really are clamping down on so many of this illicit drug traffickers. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on quickly because of our time. National Assembly resumes plans 2023 budget implementation extension. National Assembly resumes plans 2023 budget implementation extension. How we killed commercial sex worker for ritual. This is according to a suspect. You can also find that out on page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper. And then finally, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, PDP candidate receives APC defectors, vows to unseat Ayeda Tiwa. You can find that in page 10. Well, this is Ondo State politics, precisely.
Why this? When they say they vow to unseat Ayeda Tiwa, I want to ask, what is really happening in Ondo politics? First, it was more like the National Assembly, the State Assembly weren't in support of him being the governor. And then he came in power, and within how many hours of him being on seat, he gave a mandate that those who are working should allow their, the Secretary General to handle it, because he wanted to reject the people who were there. And now, the other people who happened to be Aidetiwa's supporters were thinking that he will be the flag bearer for this next gubernatorial election. And now they are vowing to unseat him. What is really happening?
Oh, well, aggrieved politicians will move away from one party to another party to do this.
It's all about interest. It's all about interest.
Do this thing that we're seeing here.
So that shows his own trouble has not ended yet.
There's trouble everywhere.
Oh, all right.
Well, that's about it in the front page of the Punch newspaper. Well, do we have time? I don't think we do. Let's just move on to the conversation. That's about it from this part of the conversation. Of course, talking about the front pages of the national dailies. We're going to take another quick break. When we return, we'll be talking about insecurity in Nigeria. Bandits imposing 20 million naira tax on Benue communities. Now, this is coming from a local government chairman affirming this particular statement. This and more when we return after this break. Stay with us.
From the views on the street
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents,
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP This Morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Welcome back. I thank you for staying with us. It's still VOP this morning on VOP TV. We're talking insecurity again in Nigeria. The caretaker chairman of Ukum local government area, Victor Iorzaa, confirmed that armed bandits imposed a monthly tax of 20 million naira on residents of Logo, Katsina Ala and Ukum council areas. The demand that all households in the region be required to pay the levy. The bandits leader, known as Full Fire, allegedly collaborated with herdsmen in attacking the affected community. Iorzaa stated that people are living in fear as the bandits have been terrorizing the area for the past 5 years. However, the government finds security operatives and also trying their best to know if they can put an end to these activities in this area. As that was actually going on, we learned that the governor of Benue State, we're talking about Hyacinth, imposed sanction on the people, saying no gathering beyond 10 p.m. Be it wake, be it any other ceremony, we shouldn't do that in that state because of the insecurity happening or bedeviling Benue State. But some factors or some people have come up to say no, that particular law, executive order being given by Hyacinth, it's more like that the government is trying to take away their fundamental human right, that actually should not be looked into. But the courts have decided to look into that case July the 2nd. We have in the studio with us this morning to help make sense of this 20 million naira levy or tax now imposed on the people of Benue State by bandits. We have the chartered accountant, chartered tax professional, chartered transport administrator, who is in this studio today in the capacity of a public affairs commentator, Sheson Okoade. And also we have Dr. Ganiu Oluwashola, the managing partner, KJB Professional Service. He's also has his own badge to be FCTI. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Fina. I looked at all
the chartered.
See, when you're big, you can't just let it go.
Are they talking about me or someone else?
I was looking behind the screen to see this, but glad to be here this Thursday morning, and we are all looking. What's the new word we're using?
Steez. Yeah, Steez.
Oh, yeah. And to all of you, glad to be here this morning.
Right now, the question to both
But we
of
also
you,
have Dr. Ganiu. Yes.
He said, thank you for having me.
Dr. Ganiu.
And my words must be very small beside the chartered man.
All right, welcome, gentlemen, to the studio. Go ahead.
Now bandits are beginning to place levy, taxes on people, to the point that the Caretaker committee chairman now come up to affirm that people are being taxed 20 million naira for them to be able to live or to stay in their own community now, to move around freely. And if this money is not being paid, someone somewhere have made it the point of duty to keep on attacking the residents in that area. What do you make of this? Nigerians now.
Maybe I allow Mr.
Well, I don't think it's new. It's not a first. It has happened in Zamfara.
But this time around that they're making it this way, that if
No,
you don't pay
it's
this
been
tax,
like this.
they'll keep on affecting, keep on bombarding them.
It's a normal, what I would call
It's been
the
like this,
normal
actually.
norm.
Okay, so what does this really depicts when it comes to the state of security in Nigeria?
Okay, you see, I would say that it is an assault, and it's also a disheartening thing. You see, if it's happening in other states, we understand. But this is the state of our former president, the military general, the Buhari himself. Which body language?
In Benue.
So now it's
Benue now. This is Benue.
No,
That's a-
the Katsina Ala.
Okay.
Okay. You could see now.
That's in Benue.
Yeah. Okay. That in that area of Benue, and you see so sorry for that. You see what happened over there is that it's totally, it's a very very painful situation, because you see why they're attacking Benue. Benue is not too big, and that is the food basket of Nigeria.
I was
right?
coming to that.
That is the food basket of Nigeria. And if it's just like somebody attacking your food bank, it's more or less that it's taking your armory, right? Okay. So if there's a war, if there's a place that should declare the state of emergency, it should be Benue.
Okay.
Look at it.
Yes.
Because when you discover now that the food source of Nigeria is being affected, farmers could not go to the farm. And in as much they cannot go to the farm, and most of them are already at the IDP camps. And in the IDP camps, they can't do anything. And it's having a ripple effect on our economy. The inflation we say that is rising is not just on the financial side, it's a food inflation that is rising.
Oh, yes. Now, interesting that you brought the food into it, because in this community now, the Ukum community, they've taxed each household for them to be able to raise 20 million as demanded by the bandits. Each household has been given 50 million to be paid. That's the reality now. 50 million for each household. Now, when some of them were interviewed by reporters, they said, look, they are having to sell their farm produce in a hurry so they can get the 50 million to contribute and then give the bandits. We also have a situation where some of them that do not have farm produce to sell, and this is a largely agrarian community. Some of them that do not have farm produce to sell are calling relations outside the state to please send money. Now, my significant other bought yam yesterday, two tubers. You know, she said, oh, it was big, Sha. 2 tubers of yam for 11,000 naira.
That's cheap.
That's cheap.
I bought
I
one
felt like
for
crying.
7,500.
I was going there. I bought one for 7,500.
500. I
Now,
bought
this is happening to the food basket of the nation. What should government do? Well, you just said if there's to be a state of emergency being declared, it should be in Benue State. But we understand from reports that the governor, Hyacinth Alia, is trying, but this seems to be above his ability now. That's what it looks like. What do you think government and the governor really should do? Because the governor is the chief security officer, isn't he?
You see, it's always a conflicting thing when we get to issues like this, because
Also,
it's the chief security officer that do not have control over the security agency of that state. If there is any instruction to be carried out by the law enforcement agencies, they take instruction directly from Abuja. And I think that this is the major reason why we've been advocating that we need to go the route of state policing, that it will be able to take decision and take responsibility for whatever decision that is taken in that area. It's you see, when Fina was reading that they now pay taxes, you see, I won't regard that in our profession as taxes because it's not to the government, it's to an individual. Tax is your obligation. That is compulsory.
Seems to be bigger than the government.
It's not bigger than the government. It's just the problem we are faced with of not having consequences for wrongdoing. This thing started small. You know, when banditry started, we were taking it with kids' glove as in, no, it won't go anywhere. It's just like a child at home that started picking pencil from school. You are not collecting. You are not cautioning the person. He started picking meat from the pot. You are not cautioning. One day, he will take your jewelries and go and sell. You say it's still growing. He will come and sell the whole house, and then you understand where it's going. That's where we are today. Not only in Benue, every area where we've had issue of this insecurity, I keep blaming the government. And why will I blame the government? It's on the fact that how much have we done in the area of state policing to empower the governor who you refer to as the chief security officer. When you call somebody the chief security officer and do not have 100% control on the people, we are all saying that they are going to politicize it, use it against other people, but we are actually affecting innocent people. That's the perspective I'm coming, because if this man, like you're saying, that he has he's trying, he's really trying, but his trial cannot go beyond the stream because he cannot go ahead and give the CP instruction without having direct approval from the center.
Okay, before you proceed, let me just correct. I think Fina just drew my attention to the fact that I said 50 million. Well, it's 20 million that the community has been taxed to pay, and each household is now levied 50,000. Yes, 50,000 naira. Each household to gather the 20 million. Just had to clarify that.
All right. And now, we talked about how the government or the governor of Benue State is trying, Hyacinth is trying to make sure he curb the issue of insecurity. He imposed he wrote down executive order saying that no other or nobody is allowed to have any gathering of
sort of curfew.
Yes, sort of curfew.
Yeah.
10 o'clock p.m. is the time for you to go into your house. Don't come out again. But we have a human rights crusader and the person of Mr. Adebayo Ogori dragging him to court, saying that he is infringing on the human right of the citizens of that state. What do you make of that?
Okay. When you look at it, you see everybody can challenge a status quo. But the question is that who has the responsibility of the state? Right. Who have the responsibility to protect? That human right activist is 1 out of 10,000. But the government owns the people the responsibility. But for me, at this state, I don't think state police, because even in that environment, the police are powerless. They can't do anything. Do you know what they call the name of the guy? Full Fire. You look at Full Fire, the guy is a no-nonsense guy. You understand? And it's somebody that is he's seen himself that you can't be tamed. You see, what thing I should, there's this school of thought, not school of thought, there's what we call salami tactics. Salami tactics says that you start something at the early stage, right? And so once you allow it, you scale through and nobody say anything, you increase the momentum. Until it becomes a wildfire that you can knock up. And also, a professor of politics also says that the way to curb impunity is not to allow it at all. You see, when you see even these bandits and these people in Malaysia, they're seeing what is happening outside the world. And they see Nigeria like a safe harbor where they can go with impunity and nothing will happen. And do not forget that if these things are not curbed at all, and I've forgotten the name of the president, he just resumed office for less than a year. They have been under a very terrible bandit attack, and he has curbed them. And once I remember that he is in a country, he has curbed them.
Salvador?
I guess so. And the guy is doing very well. You see, until we have a political will, you see, if we don't curb them in Benue, they will move to another state.
How can it be called now that some indigenes are beginning to see the government's way of trying to stop it to be infringing of their rights? Even the courts have scheduled to listen or fair into this case to be on the July 8th.
Anybody can talk, right? That's why I say that the responsibility lay on his shoulder, right? Once you see the reason, okay, even in my line of business, I owe clients confidentiality principle, right? But however, the law also says that if that confidence or those confidential documents, if it is going to affect the interest of the public, I need to disclose it to the court. So I remove the veil of incorporation that wants me to have a confidential agreement with that fellow. So if those things is going to affect an average citizen, so anybody can take the government to court, can do anything, but the interest and the life, and do not forget, one of the reasons why you are in governor is to protect the life of the citizen and the welfare of the citizen.
I like the fact that you brought that up, and if our producers are ready, there is a video that we're supposed to push up on the screen, and that is a video of a mass arrival of some Fulani terrorists, and this was from BBC News Hausa. Now, this is an exodus of people armed to the teeth getting into the country. But interestingly, the Nigerian police force has also come out swiftly to debunk this video, that it is not a recent thing. It's in 2018 thereabouts. Now, this is where I'm coming. If we have this level of people armed to the teeth getting into our country, and security is still a major issue, how then can we get our economy right? Now, we spoke about food insecurity a couple of minutes ago. Now, my very direct question to you, Mr. Shisma, right now is, what do you think can be done better to stop this level of insecurity in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. If I have opportunity to talk, I do say this. We lack consequences for wrongdoing in this country, and it's fundamental. Most of the time, those people that become, whether white fire or full fire or whatever it is, started without anything. But they gain ground when they say that executing first action, no reprisal, second one, generated income, they move to the third level and become an authority you can't call. And one thing I want to say regarding to what my friend said is that nobody is bigger than the government if they have that will to attack them. That's one thing I will always say. You see, all those people that we're talking about, it might lead to them sacrificing their lives. But when you get to know, you see, people will say police are not working. Let issues get directly to someone that is very close to them. Then you see the way they swing into action to make things happen. I feel that what we are lacking here is the political will. You see, we politicize a lot of things trying to manage it. I'm sure in that community, they all knew when this guy started. But nobody was curbing that menace.
Interestingly, we hear that a few weeks back, his house was bombarded. The Nigerian military forces attacked the Full Fire's house, but he survived. He survived that attack. So that's to show that something has been done in that regard.
Of course, but that we should not relent.
But then again,
we should.
But then again, let's get some other things in perspective. Now, the community, members of that community are afraid to report the case because they are afraid of them being attacked, being targeted privately for making it a public thing. But then there's an individual from that community, name given as Iorzaa. Well, he said he has reported to the police, but we hear that the police public relations officer in Benue State, SP Catherine Anene, has said no such case has been reported to her. And we also hear that the security advisor to the governor, Joseph Ha, has said bandits well, he said bandits are on the run in the state and could not have the luxury of collecting tax from the villagers. So we're having conflicting figures. Now, with these figures, do you think the government will act? Saying that the people are crying for, are saying, look, we are being taxed by bandits. And the security advisor said, oh, nothing like that is happening.
We always have that information when it comes to government and people. Most of the time, the government officials are far from reality, truth be told. The things will be happening. And that's why that thing keeps, going in a full-blown stuff. It's the people that are directly affected that will always make that noise. People, for the local government chairman to come up and say this is happening, I don't think he has an ulterior motive that he will say the people he's actually governing is the one that will actually be creating problem for them. But you see, people are the central. It's just like when you go to some people, do you know that some people don't know that there is hardship in the land? Because everything is on their table. They want to hear. When you tell them that, no, tomato is expensive, say, how? The one they made for me yesterday, in fact, is rich in those things. They tell you that fuel is expensive. I know now. My tank is filled all the time. So do you want to tell that person that there is problem in the country? The answer is no. Most of the time, these people at the center who are our leaders or who reports to the people at the center are far away from the truth. What I will continue to say is that when you have information, most of these advisors should not be swift in countering those people that are actually being faced with the problem. Because if that is not happening, people, okay, you said in a report that the man's house was attacked, maybe last month. So on what basis was his house attacked? If you are claiming that,
so isn't government trying to play denial, trying to act like
it's the politicking,
politicizing it? They
just play politics with it.
But why would you want to play politics with the lives of the people and the tummy of Nigerians? Because if anything whatever affects Benue, of course, would affect the rest of Nigeria. After all, Benue is the food basket of the nation.
And that's why I will support what my colleague said, Shola, to say it's high time federal government put because it's like they want to actually grant the nation. If that is done, to get to your main source of food supply, that means you'll be disconnected. And you see the way it goes. Food fire or fire food, it's actually having its way there. Before you know it, it will have other people reinforce it to other strategic area in the states. So it won't be him alone. And that's why I feel that government needs to quickly prevail on the situation, attack it needful. But we will continue to say, don't allow this issue to degenerate into something you will not be able to call.
Has it not degenerated to that point from what we're seeing in Nigeria now?
At least we have this now. Other ones that will actually be happening, let's nip it that. But that's our major problem.
In Borno State, a particular insurgent group hoists their flag in a part of Borno State, declaring the place their own zone in Nigeria.
And that's what we keep saying now. It's just freedom in one area, give room to the other. So when you succeed here, it is still, do you know the way some of these guys go? They groom them and now ask you to go to the branch. So now this is now our headquarters. Full Fire has a squad. Or maybe one of the guys who is not really pleased and feel that, no, you can't have it. Let's go to this area.
As it is now, the information is that Full Fire now works in connivance with Fulani headsmen.
Yeah.
That's the report. We're quoting the reports now. Full Fire works with Fulani headsmen to terrorize the community. So he's getting support, which gives the impression that his own squad might have been depleted.
Yeah.
So now he needs support. Now, this also brings to fore the issue of Fulani headsmen with guns, those with guns, roaming the country.
And the release of Bodejo.
The cattle. Oh, yes. So what should we be doing? What conversation should we be having at this point? Seeing that people are still, accusing these terrorizing headers of terrorizing people's lives, as it is before the National Assembly, the ranching conversation.
You see, we not just need to take an active step. We need not to play politics at this time. This is not the best time to play politics. You see, if our current president did not make a statement, then he will posterity will never forgive him.
If he doesn't make a statement like what?
Make a statement, I was damn the consequence and hit people. You know, when the former president was there, President Muhammad Buhari, they said because he was a Fulani, so there's this kind of allegiance. He doesn't want to offend these people. But you are here now. You are for everybody. So you need to damn the consequences and deal with this thing ASAP.
But does it look like they want to damn this consequence? Because Bayo consistently keep talking.
But the question is that, does the info... You see, I do tell people, truth be told, it is not lonely at the top. It is what they want you to hear, you will hear. You know, there was a time during the time of Buhari, what's his name, President Obasanjo, he said it's not possible for a Nigerian not to be able to feed on 3 square meals. Truth be told, honestly, because they will take you become a puppet at that place. They will take you through the road you want to go through. They will tell you the clothes you need to wear because you are in meeting. Or if they could tell you that maybe he went back to bed around 4 a.m. this morning because it's all the night meeting and it's coming up again. So most of this info, those people, it has been tackled. And they will play the video where they've tackled it. So the thing is just now that he also needs to have another person with an unbiased mind.
Sorry.
I was really wondering if what you're saying now is quite realistic, because the president, when he came to town, when his convoy was going to his Bodilon building, there were Nigerians that were crying and were saying things like Ebin Power, which literally means that we're hungry. Are you saying that the president at this point does not have an idea of these Nigerians?
Okay, the people saying Ebin Power, you will see that it is the mixture of words. Some people will be hailing, some people will be saying Ebin Power, and some people will wind up his glasses for security purpose. Do you understand? I'm just being real on this.
That you're not hearing.
Okay, look at during the time he was a governor in Lagos.
But sorry to interject. If you're saying that there's a possibility that he's not hearing the cry of Nigerians, but at least he knows that Nigerians are insulting him, because he did say that they are insulting him
on social media. Social media. So the question is just like, how much information does he have access to? And that's why we also said that a president should come to the level of the citizen, not only hear what people are saying, hear what the citizen, listen to news, watch news, look at what you see. For me, I say it's a jab that the president of Kenya was throwing at us in Nigeria, not at him. When he says that I'm a responsible president, I can't go and buy a jet worth, private jet worth so that I cannot be so stupid. He used some 2 languages, responsible, which means that if we do it in Nigeria, it shows we are not irresponsible, right? Yeah. And if you say that, I'm not so foolish, which means that if we do it in Nigeria, it means that we are foolish. So these are things we should look at. He said, how can I take so huge amount of money and go and buy private jet for myself? These are things we need to, and also people surrounding him should come up or be sacrificed, because at least they are already marking 2 years in office, and their policy at any point in time does not have favorable impact on Nigeria.
Well, unfortunately, the president has said in his broadcast that his policies will consistently keep coming. So, in other words, Nigerians are faced with the music of whatever comes out of that policy. Do you still think that that same president doesn't know that Nigerians are going through things?
He knows. That's why I said that information is relative. Some people will say that, when you see them making news, they'll say that, our policy is working. It has curbed this, it has curbed this. Investors are coming. So what about the negative impact? Remember when Wale Edu, the current finance minister, he said he saw the rotten in the system, that they will not borrow again. But what happened? They keep, you see, I sat down and I looked at, where did they even get this money to spend? Where did they get this money to spend?
You also mentioned Wale Edu. There is a CBN Act that says the country shouldn't borrow higher than ₦1 trillion in a year. But Nigerians don't.
He even said that we will not borrow again, because the state we have now, we don't even have the capacity to finance what we have borrowed.
But he's still given the vote of confidence by the man in power.
So because when they were borrowing, and then the question is that where did they see the money they are spending? Because the borrowing, this is in my field, they call it financial mismatch. You borrow before 2010, a $460 million was borrowed to fix CCTV in Abuja. There's no project now, no infrastructure. Another 800 million was borrowed to subsidize fuel subsidy to be able to ameliorate. We don't have any effect, and we are borrowing trillions of dollars again. At what effect?
Let's bring you back to the table of insecurity in Nigeria.
I'm still going to, yes, still insecurity.
But the CCTV should have stopped insecurity because you know what comes into the country. You could be able to play out, and this is how we make
no one is being held responsible for that.
Because you can't track it.
Mr. Sasaman, right now, I'm still going to ask the same question. Do you think that the president of Nigeria does not have full-hand information of what insecurity is about in Nigeria, both food insecurity and, of course, lives and property? Now, I'm going to read the statistics to you before you answer that question. In 2022, interestingly, agriculture, in 2022, global agricultural reports reached a historic high of $2 trillion. Top 20 countries that had major gains of that amount, the 20th is Russia, a country at war. Now, the number 3 country that did gain more, and by figures, $119 billion is what this country gained as exporters of agricultural produce, is Netherlands. Netherlands by landmass is 41,850 kilometers, per square meters. Now, their land, arable land that they use for agriculture is lesser than, it's just 33,500. Lesser than Benue states that we're talking about. Are you still going to say that the president of this nation does not have full grasp of what insecurity is about in this country?
If the president do not have, then who will have the information? Because he has all the apparatus with him. The chief of staff, everybody reports to him. But I will keep saying this, which is the information they get across to the president that will tell you that's what they are acting. Even by the time you give order, they will tell you, even this discussion we are having in Benue, don't be surprised that he might have on his desk what he will read or preview as regard this to say, I'm hearing and say, sir, it's under control. If, as the head of this organization, you at your level, you gave a report to your boss, most of the time, if he has confidence, because keeping you in that place, because they have confidence in you.
And that brings me to this question. So you're of the opinion that the president actually have confidence in the service chief, and that's why he pushed them to say, yes, they are doing well, they should continue doing well.
If you ask him tomorrow, he will tell you they are performing. All the ministers are all performing.
So why are they not giving us the result we need to get, even after giving them 1.3 trillion as a budget allocated to them in this year's allocation?
They will have 1,001 reason for failure, but nobody picks them to say this that you have done is wrong. And that's where we keep going, that each time we disburse out funds, how much do we monitor some of these things? That's the problem I feel that we have in this country. When you give out so much trillions of dollars, millions, billions of dollars to carry out exercise, how much questions do we ask about how such funds are being utilized?
Oh, well, interestingly, the president and his cabinet have not, reeled out the so far spent budget.
We'll look into that in a second. We'll look into that in a second. We have to look into that in a second topic. We have that to look at on our table this morning in a second topic.
I was saying something on Foya yesterday on a platform, right? We were talking about civil servant salary and their agitation. And I now drive back. In 2019, the law says that every 5 years you review. In 2019, when they increased that salary to 30,000 naira, that which is equivalent to $98, which is less than $100. Then dollar was around 306 naira. We were still complaining. So at that point in time, so if you want to bring it to this day, let's assume that we bring 2019 to
24.
24. And you are still giving them that equivalent of that 30,000. And because of dollar, and we want to say they still remain $98. We are not increasing anything. $98 is around 147,000 naira. Okay, so we are not increasing anything. We are just still giving you the value. In my field, they call it that present value of money. What is the present value of money as at 2019? 30,000. The present value of that 30,000 is now 147,000. So which means that the dollar is still $98 per worker. So the question is just that what should we do better to affect our economy and make our economy much more good? It's not about, and I was saying that forget about this elementary economics. Yeah, you are trying to increase the interest rate and every other thing. It won't work. Because if I don't know the volume of money in circulation, how do I control it? You can't control it. So increasing interest rate, you are affecting a lot of small and medium enterprise. As we speak now, another company, multinational, is living in Shagamu, in Ogun State. And as we speak now, even one of these Chinese companies, they are suing Nigeria because they breached the treaty they have, and they are already seizing Nigeria property in Liverpool worth $70 million. Do you get? So the question is that, how have we gotten there? We are the advisor. Are they actually advising the president appropriately, or they are giving him the advice? He's not yielding to it.
Well, quite an unfortunate one there. But then I was going to ask Mr. Shetan, do you think that, aside the fact that, yes, there is a level of distrust from the people to the government, do you think there's any way the government can do better when it comes to insecurity, particularly on our lands, agriculturally?
Well, my suggestion is actually being taken by those who understand the law. No, I'm not a lawyer. I always say, I think it's capital punishment that will solve this problem. You get rid of anyone who is actually distorting the peace of this nation, let's reduce that person by one. By the time you take 1, 2, 3, do your proper investigation to know these are the people causing the unrest. By the time you reduce like 10 major actors, anybody venturing into that business, think twice before going into it. But what we've seen is that the people that are actually doing the wrong thing and being celebrated. And don't forget, it's not only these bandits or these people causing insecurity. Those that are mismanaging our funds are also on their own part with the corruption, creating insecurity. So when you get hold of them, rather than actually giving consequences to this thing that they are doing, we go around and we celebrate it. And I think that is the fundamental problem we need to address. If we're able to get this man in Benue that is doing this, because we've seen people in time past that they will say they are looking for, and the next week following it, they will be giving the person turban and celebrating him. And you ask yourself, is this not the same man who was declared wanted last week? And he will be having the security protection for the ceremony he's having. So you ask yourself, where are we going? So until we are intentional to give, the consequence for those wrongdoing, and the actor understand the fact that dabbling into this, am I ready for these consequences? That's when we start seeing a different thing when it comes to insecurity.
Some quarters will be saying, at this point, what you're suggesting, maybe not this government will be able to do it, because from what we see, they are still reintegrating some Boko Haram terrorists back into society after profiling them.
It's under the law. Everything is under the law. The military act will not take those things. So when you want to do things, people have actually say, no, this is not Asia where you do capital punishment. It must go through the court of law. And we all know what the judiciary are doing. Fantastic job that they are doing. So when it goes through the court of law, the person comes out and come and meet the money that he has actually made out of doing some of those things.
Well, there's one thing government is doing, of course. There's one thing they are really eager to do, and that is to hold an emergency meeting over a supplementary budget. Let's dive into this conversation after this break.
From the views on the street
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Glad to have you back. It is still VOP this morning. Now let's get to the second conversation. The Senate held an emergency meeting to consider President Bola Tinubu's supplementary appropriation for the 2024 fiscal year. And the budget includes funding for the controversial presidential jet. The House of Representatives Committee on National Security and Intelligence had recommenced the purchase of a new aircraft for the president and the vice president, citing the existing presidential jets as faulty and unsafe for use. However, Senate President Godswill Akpabio denied claims that the Senate had proposed the procurement of a new aircraft for the president, describing it as malicious reports. Meanwhile, the inflation surge in Nigeria has been attributed to President Tinubu's policy, leading to criticism of the government's spending despite the economic challenge. Well, stay with us in the studio are these two fine gentlemen, Dr. Oluwaseun Ganiu and Mr. Sheson Kwade. Let's get to this almost immediately. The supplementary budget is about to get approval. The present one before the supplementary has not been declared how it was spent, and the supplementary is coming to the table of the Senate. Of course, as suspected, it might just be passed. But here's the very important question. The presidential fleet that we are talking about, is this what Nigerians need at this time?
You see, when we talk about the caliber of leaders we have, you see, I see they've changed the definition of the democracy, the elementary democracy we have, which is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. They've turned it to government of the government, by the government, and for the government. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, because you did not call for an immediate meeting for supplementary for worker salary that have been lingering since last year. There's no supplementary bill to quickly pass to fix our health facility that is at a deplorable situation. That cholera is already killing a lot of people. It does not call for emergency or call for immediate meeting, right? You did not call for immediate meeting for insecurity that is going nowhere, that is rising stronger and stronger under the government. You did not call for immediate meeting and so more for the food insecurity that you get to a supermarket and they wrap 3 tomatoes for 6,000 plus, 3 tomatoes for 6,000 plus. You did not call for an immediate, and you are calling for an immediate meeting for a presidential jet. You see, it calls that do we still have the country at heart? What happened? One of these private this thing that we have. One of them is being used by the chief of staff. He said one of them used by the president of the Senate. But the question we should ask is that, okay, you said 4 are faulty. Dispose them. Why should we still keep them?
Okay.
Dispose them and get another one.
Let's get this in perspective now. The Senate has gone on recess. Are supposed to be on recess. But the conversation of the presidential jet came up, and conversation of appropriation bill, supplementary appropriation bill came up, and they had to reconvene so they can have this conversation. Now, the president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, denied the claims that the Senate will be purchasing a new jet for the president. That was denied. And right a few days after, I think that was the night 2 or 3 days ago, a few days after, we are hearing that they want to have a meeting, talk about the supplementary budget. And one of the things attached to the supplementary budget is the purchase of a presidential jet. But where it feels, doesn't this feel, the next thing I want to say, doesn't it feel like our National Assembly is playing on, or our government is playing on the sensibilities of Nigerians? Because attached to that is, okay, we want to buy a budget, we will buy a presidential jet for the president, but we will sell 3. That's what you're saying. They will sell the 3 that are faulty and use the money gotten to augment what will be used in purchasing the presidential jet. But they're not selling yet. They will sell and augment, but they want to pass this one first. Doesn't this seem like, this is coming to you now because I like your response. Doesn't this seem like our leaders are not feeling the pulse of Nigerians, and they're playing on the sensibilities of Nigerians? Because like Dr. Ganiu rightly pointed out in his statement, his opening statement, that the Senate they are not calling together an emergency session to address minimum wage. In fact, at the Federal Executive Council meeting, they stepped down the conversation on minimum wage on the premise that the presidency would need to consult further. What is going on, really?
Nothing is going on. It's just the way we've been operating. And I want to say
are Nigerians taken for a ride? Should we, tell ourselves that, look, truly, we are taken for a ride, and we are enjoying this ride along with them?
Before now, we've been taken for a ride, and nothing is happening. And that's why they have that, say, this bill, they will pass, they will buy, and nothing will happen. We are all here when we shouted on the issue of vehicles for not even the yachts, the National Assembly, 160 million. I'm sure you know that thing passed its own, and today they are enjoying. People are saying, no, there are different parties there. Some will oppose it.
Could this rubber stamp process of this National Assembly be the reason the president come up to? Because the presidents come up to say they are his partner, and this is the best partner he's ever enjoyed.
If the Ninth Assembly was a rubber stamp assembly, should we call this one a rubber stamp as well?
At any point, I will not refer to them as rubber stamps. Okay. But they all know what they are doing. You pat your back, I pat my back.
So where does that leave Nigerians? Now, you would recall just yesterday, the president of Kenya took back that bill that was passed. The same bill that made the young Gen Zs get to the streets in the name of protest. And now, how much more can Nigerians take from this present administration?
You see, I will continue to say this, that most of the time we talk more with less action. And that's why every politician, and I have this to tell you, as we are currently, things will continue to be like this, a bit difficult, and wait for like a year or a year and a half towards the election for 2027, things will revert, ease the burden. Maybe by then they can tell you that the reforms are working, and when they revert back, Because I will tell you, if I borrow the leaf of the last administration, the first half was like, okay, we are working. Because I learned that majority of the ministers said they met a lot of wrath from the last administration. So they are trying to streamline and make things right. That's why we are feeling this pain. And one thing I've always observed is by the time these 4 years elapse, or 8 years, whichever number of years, another regime is coming in, they are going to condemn the act. And that speaks to the process to say we don't have a system that speaks to continuity. Everybody comes in and do whatever they like. See, I'm speaking less about this issue of jets because the people at the end of affairs, I will continue to tell you that they are not feeling the pain we are feeling as citizens of this country. They do whatever they like. Otherwise, I see no reason why the issue of the 160 million vehicle for the National Assembly will fly. Because a lot of them have more sophisticated vehicle
Before now.
that they can even offer to say, see, we feel your pain. Even though they have recommended that we should buy this amount of vehicle, we have all taken it up. That we will not buy, we will make use of our personal vehicle until when we stabilize the economy, because we know when the economy is stable, we can buy much more than what we have. That's what happens in the private sector. They are bringing you in as the managing director of an organization, and the first thing you feel that you need to do is to satisfy yourself so that you can have the confidence to give the best to the organization. Then you are already talking to the doom of that organization. That's why we keep saying that until we take governance as if we are running a private sector, we go nowhere. All this discussion we are having, they will give a reason to justify. Already the spokesman of the president is already saying that if the president is our father, will we want him to die? Like I said on a particular station yesterday, I said, with this issue of this private jet happening, they've taught us a lot of things, virtual meeting, e-signing, and all those stuff. Can we have less of the president moving out of the country? Maybe this issue is blessing in disguise. That's what I said yesterday. So that the president can look inward to ask questions. Why are the multinationals that are being in existence for years, giving a major of their stake and leaving the country, and not just going out of West Africa? They are moving to a neighboring country to set up the country. What is really, really happening? Maybe that will give him it's just what I feel, because if you are doing the same thing the same way and you don't change your statistics, maybe it's just divine that Baba should stay indoor and move to every state to hear and say, no, I've heard your report, but I think I need to go around and have state. See, when Baba Obasanjo was there, there's this media chat that they have engagement with the president. I've not seen anything of such during the last administration. Baba will ask people to call in. He's not micromanaging anything. Call in if you want to abuse him, abuse him. In fact, Baba, because of his what I would call skills, he speaks practically. He's a Wazobia man. So when you call and you say your name is David, you say no, don't call your David. What's your native language? You say Oluwasesan. Okay, Omo Yobati Enye. That means you're a Yoruba person. Okay, ask your question, and he will give you one or two. It's connecting to the grassroots. These are things they should ask. So that you cannot come and micromanage to say, no, these are questions we can ask. These are answers that you can give. Be more practical. We need to feel the pulse of Mr. President directly. But for me, the National Assembly, they can tell you that will not be passed. That will not fly. By the time they make materiality and some other things happen, you and I won't see anything.
You know, you're talking about materiality now, Mr. Shison. Some factors are of the opinion that the increment or the raise which this present administration gives to the National Assembly is why they are behaving the way they are doing. For example, they have 74.23% increment in their allocation, amounting to 344.85 billion naira. This present National Assembly. Now, could that be one of the reasons why they are looking away from the things they should talk about? For example, in Nigeria now, this present administration have not even thought about telling us what we did with the budget we signed. And yet, they are calling an emergency meeting to look at the supplementary budget of 6.6 trillion naira.
Yeah, they will tell you, the National Assembly will tell you that they have the information. It's just that they are not disclosing it to the populace.
So, but that's on a norm
supplementary.
actually defies what the Fiscal Responsibility Act says.
How many, see, Fina, you see, I laugh in the Chinese manner when we talked about all these laws are there. How many of it do we follow to letter?
Other administration brought out theirs. Tinubu administration gave us the last one by April 2023. But this present administration, Buhari administration, I beg your pardon. But this administration under Tinubu is yet to tell us what happened to the whopping 27 point. Even we know that there was an issue of budget padding during the time we wanted to pass this budget. But yet, we're yet to have any vision of what we spend this money on.
Fina, let me play the devil. Those things are known to those that wants to pass the supplementary budget. It's not just known to us as the populace. Because that's what I say playing most of the time. When you ask several questions, they will tell you that you don't have. I've seen instances they will say, "Oh no, just go and read more." See, some of these things are out there, and I will ask other 5 of us are on this table, and we are asking that we don't have, as informed as we are, we don't have certain information at our beck and call. Now, and you are saying that those things are out there in the public domain.
Speaking of information, there is the issue with the Nigerian Air. The last administration with Hadi Sirika is still ongoing. Nothing concrete have really been, said. And of course, like we know, nobody is in jail for that. That's one part. On another part, the House of Rep did earmark $600 million plus for the buy-in of the presidential fleet. Presently, the presidential jet that is faulty is Boeing 737. Donald Trump, the former president of America, has a private jet of the same, not the same, a bit higher. That's about Boeing 750. And is sold for $100 million. $600 million plus is what is earmarked for the presidential jet in this supplementary budget. The question now would be, I'm going to ask you, Dr. Ganiyu, do you think that this government is truly telling Nigerians the truth when they said, we want to cut down on governance?
It's crystal clear. There's no cutting down on governance. It's in this situation where they refurbish the VP house of trillions of naira, right? This is the house that Oshibajo lives in, and nothing happened to the house. We refurbish the house. It's in this cutting of it that will buy the open sum of cars for the House of Senate and House of Assembly. It's in this time also that we talk about increasing the salary of the judiciary. But the only thing is just like they say, where two elephants are fighting, the grass suffers. That's the civil servants that are suffering. Average Nigerians are suffering. Look at this man is already said, if you knew that this is how it's going to take, he wouldn't have ventured into constructing that multi-billion refinery. The whole thing almost got fired the other time. Don't you get it? But the question is that, are we just trying to enjoy at the top? We should be able to say, these are government, and we should learn from the outside world what is happening. You see, until there are consequences, and they should, it could go to a time that an average Nigeria is just like in this part of the world where those are. Look at what happened in Kenya. Kenya is
I wanted to ask you if you think Nigeria will ever get to the point what will happen in Kenya will happen in Nigeria.
What will happen in Kenya? The first time the Kenya government increased the rate of bread by 16%. It wanted to pass the bill, and the youth came out and said, hey, don't go there. These are staple food. Don't just go there. And the man came back. And later on, the man discovered that, they are in so much debt. Where else can we get money? It's tax. And so he also does not have a good advice. And you are increasing sanitary pad. You are increasing bread. And so this guy come to the street and say, don't even go there at all, sanitary pad, bread. These are staple things. You can't just go and do anything on that. And the man, and he said, okay, we'll show you. One of the House of the Senate, his supermarket, they burn it down. And once they use one or two people as a deterrent, the man tried to reach it. And this is more, it was popular among his people that he's doing well. For what he did, he became unpopular. So until I think our leader does not feel our pain, right? Until that, you see, it's an eyesore during the time of COVID, where the person that is in charge of the Minister of Health saying that, oh, it does not know that this is how deplorable the economy situation. I felt so bad for the Deputy Controller General that happened 2 days ago. My condolence to them. But the question is that if our health facility is working, do you think that they're going to fly in? There's some sickness that will not wait for 10 minutes. Not for 15 minutes. There was a time they even said that in the presidential villa, there's no paracetamol. It is an eyesore. Did you get it? And do not forget, we are all human. You might be thinking that you are in a time will come that even when you amass so much money, the money will be useless because you can't even travel. You are at a spot. So if you don't fix the situation in your country, a time it might just say that you can't just travel. What's the nearby? There was this man, the security or the secretary to the government. They flown him to Lagos, and the long way he couldn't cope. We should fix what we have. I love India for this. India is already coming up. They have one of the best medical facilities in the world. Their technological space is going at a very good space. So what do we have to do as a Nigeria? These are the people we are colleagues. In terms of population, China give it to them. India give it to them. India is one of the worst, poorest people in the world then. But now they're coming up. So what is Nigeria doing? We need to come up out of this selfish and self-centered life of leadership and come up and say that this is the citizen. And they should not forget, it's because we have Nigerians. That's why we have presidents. It's because we have Nigerians. That's why we have people in the Senate to judicate over them. If they are not Nigerian, nobody to be there. So they should think wise and say that how do I better the life of the citizen and make their life, because you might be thinking that, oh, I will fly in. But don't forget, you are going to pass through the airport. You are going to pass through this kind of people. But the people, and one day you are going to leave office. These people, that's why you see some people, every time they will run, we are going back to one day you will stop going back to the government. You are coming back to these people. And the way you treat them, I said, there's this saying that said that don't forget the people on your way to the top. Treat them very well. Because if you don't treat them very well, on your way back, you will beat them. But if you have treated them very well, they'll be the one to set you up and say you can still remain at the top. Leadership is about servanthood. I think the definition of our leadership is wrong. Leadership is about servanthood. Leadership is about how do you make the life of the citizen better off, not making them worse off than the way you met it. So we make things good so that the citizen will enjoy and the country at large will enjoy. We have Nigeria. That is why they are president over there. Let us fix our economy and so things get better.
You know, when he was talking, he said when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. At this point, just like he mentioned, Nigerians are the ones bearing this brunt. What do you think Nigerians should start doing at this time?
Yeah, quite simple. We'll continue to vocal our voice in things that we consider not right. There's a process to recall or impeach people that are not doing it right.
That process looks
well, the process it is. But I will continue to say that we should not relent in speaking up.
Our voice is
when
being heard.
Whether it's going to be heard or not, speak. When you see something, say something. One day, we'll definitely get to a point where those things are. You see, you don't go to a meeting and say because they won't listen to you, you won't say you're part of it. Document it. Maybe there will be minutes of meeting. Let people hear that on your part, in your small way, you're able to do your part. And I will always refer to every individual. It's good. Most of the time, we put accusing fingers to people who are there. They are once accusing those that are in power today. Now they've been given opportunity, but they will do every bit that you are to lead in this country. Know that posterity will judge in the future. A lot of people, one thing happened that somebody just shared with me. Somebody who once served as a minister in this country, you know, who had opportunity to fix a place leading to his area, refused to do that. So when he came back, you know, while they were there, they would be based in Abuja. After exit, he felt he should come to his territory. And he saw the deplorable state of the environment. And at that point, he was given instruction to the current executive person. And that was said, while you were there, what did you do? So people should know that it's an opportunity to serve. 4 years will come and go, and people will play the cassette for you, your achievement. But the greatest achievement anyone in power can get is to win the heart of your people, to say, indeed, you did well for your people. Like they will always refer to those that they are always making as their godfather, Awolowo's, Nnamdi Azikiwe's, and the likes. I will always say, I will not be on this table speaking all this grammar because I know where I came from. If the likes of Lateef Jakonde never gave us that free education to enjoy in this state. But ask yourself, all of us here, we know what we pay for a child to attend school these days. So imagine with the current hardship, even if it is education you are going to give, because education is the bedrock for everyone to grow. That's why all of us can speak this English. And that's why forever, I will always tell everyone that I'm forever grateful for that visionary man who decided it is, those days there are no private school. It's public school. I attended from primary to secondary to even tertiary institution. And today we're better off for it. People will say, you look as if you schooled in Harvard. I said, I attended a public school. Let our leaders who did the same go back to the drawing board. Let's start reducing the number of private schools that we have and revamp the public school for people, the common man. The common man these days is difficult. You see children that are supposed to be in school selling and hawking on the road. When they cannot get the necessary education required, they become, you know, a non-entity that will now become a threat to you and I. I think that's where I will just leave it.
That will be a good place to anchor the conversation. Dr. Ganiyu, let's get your closing thoughts now.
Yeah, it's a life. It's so funny and it's playback, right? As we speak, 2 years is almost going. 3 years will come, 4 years will come. But at the end, they will also be remembered for two things: the problem they solved and the problem they created. Do they make us better off or they make us worse off? We were saying during the time of Buhari, dollar was 309. As we speak today, dollar is 1,500 naira. That is more than how many percentage increase, right? And the whole thing is just like people, a lot of our country, they are lifting their citizen out of poverty. But Nigeria is introducing another definition into our dictionary concerning multi-dimensional. I've never heard that before when I was growing up. You understand? It's so bad. Multi-dimensional. Does it look at multi-dimensional industry? Multi-dimensional. It's so bad. Our leaders should come off it. And they should see that they've once been amidst all. Even our president have been there. He hailed Awolowo when he was there. So let us see what we will speak about you once we are off the show.
All right. Interestingly, the Kenya that we referenced today, their debt profile, international debt profile, is about $82.1 billion. That of Nigeria is about $108.23 billion.
But check the population of Kenya. The population of Kenya is less than 70 million, right? Look at Ghana here. Ghana were year before. You see, there's this shampoo ladies do when we are growing up. It's not this refined shampoo. They use this. Once you put it, if you are not careful, your head will get bald. And they fix your broken buckets. There's a way they could do it. They are the one, the shoemaker. And when we chase them away, that's why we got the name Ghana must go. But now the country is doing very well. Do you get it? Nigeria has all it takes. But the thing is just like, let's come of it. Let's get to work. Roll your shirt, roll your sleeve, and get to work. Use some people as a deterrent. Let's have political will and deliver Nigeria from bandits. Because once they move to Benue, part of our Benue is lost. Benue is there. Part of Katsina also. They're struggling with these people. And do you know that they want to venture into Iorzaa the other time? They came in agitation, if not because they are arrested. We thought we were very at ease at the Southwest. We need to be very careful. And they said a stitch in time saves nine.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. We must say a big thank you for your time and your thoughts. We've been speaking with Mr. Sheson Okwade, who is the Chartered Accountant, Tax Professional, and Transport Administrator. And also, Dr. Gani Oluwashola, Managing Partner, KJB Professional Services. We appreciate you once again.
Thank
you for having us.
It'll be good in the presidency because he has a lot
Oh,
of
yes, he will be good.
in transportation, in everything.
He will be good. And don't forget your friends, right?
We always work together.
We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll get into other aspects of the show. Stay with us.
From the views on the street
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP This Morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
All right, so now roller coaster ride, yeah? The Federal High Court in Lagos has ordered Ikeja Electric PLC and the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, to halt the implementation of the April 2024 tariff increase on Band A feeders. Now, this interim injunction, issued on Tuesday, was a response to an ex parte application by Ryder National Plastics Limited, represented by Dr. Kemi Pinero, SAN. Well, more of this will come your way in business at 10 o'clock with Frank Fagbo. All right, let's talk about entertainment. Chisom Enyinaya, or would you like to do the introductions?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, Chisom Enyinaya is in the building.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you.
Good
Thank
morning.
you so much. Fina, you look so good. I'll collect your dress.
All right.
Okay, so right to entertainment, controversial online critic Vincent Martin, popularly known as Very Dark Man, stirred up quite a storm on social media by revealing what transpired at Davido's and Chioma's wedding. The star-studded event, held on June 25th, 2024, was strictly by invitation. However, Very Dark Man claims that certain celebrities were not part of the main event. He specifically called out Iyabo Ojo, Papaya X, Nkechi Blessing, and other skit makers who attended the wedding. According to Very Dark Man, Iyabo Ojo arrived late and attempted to blame traffic, but she was only invited to the after party. He also accused Nkechi Blessing of almost facing rejection at the event and dared her to share photos and videos of herself with Davido during the party. In response, Iyabo Ojo countered a Very Dark Man's claim by posting a screenshot of her conversation with Davido's sister, who sent her the invite on behalf of Davido. Music executive and Iyabo Ojo's partner reacted to the Very Dark Man's claim and asked Tunde Ednut, Davido, and a few others to choose between himself and Very Dark Man.
All right then. Well, Very Dark Man just he's putting himself out there. You know, well, I hope he doesn't get into trouble again. And if he gets into trouble, he may not have the support that he had the last time.
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Chisholm, for that story. More will be coming at...
by 1 p.m.
1 p.m.
Yes.
All right then. David, what's up?
Oh, well, the African Championship happening at Cote d'Ivoire is another major one. Painfully, Alexander Chukwukelu did not make the podium this time. And interestingly, again, Motiu Adepoju, the headmaster, also is saying that he wants to coach the Super Eagles.
Nice one.
Interesting times for the Super Eagles. And of course, you know very well that the Federation finals between El Kanemi Warriors and Abia Warriors, well, the Battle of the Warriors is this weekend. And of course, the guys, the players are in town in Lagos. And of course, it's going to be at the Mobolaji Bank Arena in Lagos. So you best want to be at that event. That's about it for sports. And we urge you to be with us 11 a.m. West African time. And yes, thank you so very much for being here. David Edwin saying, do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead. God bless Nigeria.
And from Fino Kichuku, enjoy the rest of your day. On top of the hour, 9 a.m. is the news on VOP TV. Federal Government and National Assembly. Please, as you're having this your emergency meeting today, no go resist when I go buy that jet. Nigerians are suffering. Inflation is high. Everybody in Nigeria are crying for one thing or the other. So the private jet, in my own opinion, should come after when Nigeria actually is settled. Have a nice day. Well,
President Ruto has thrown jabs at Nigeria for even thinking about buying a private jet at this time. But I tell you, I think the jet, like we're having this conversation, the jet has been purchased already. It's just for us it's just for the president to step in and start, I think this conversation is done and dusted. I mean, for the National Assembly to come back
from recess,
to deliberate on the supplementary appropriation bill, then it's done and dusted. Quite an unfortunate one. And still talking insecurity now. Some days back, well, this report about Benue State, the conversation we had today, the full fire individual has been working, it's reported that he's been working with Fulani headsmen, armed headsmen. I think government should do something in that regard because it is appalling as it is. And unfortunately also, reports of jihadists coming into Nigeria and putting their camp at the Kanji Lake National Park from the Sahel, and these jihadists are linked to Al-Qaeda. That's something that the government should take very seriously before it escalates beyond the northwestern part of Nigeria into other parts of the country. Insecurity is on the increase. I am Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. Bye for now.